It's a number thing. It's a number thing.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Green live stream. I'm your host, Edie Arndell, and I'm here with Mr. Scott Free.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Welcome, Shehla Faizi.
Hi.
Hey.
So happy to have you here. So you're
It's a pleasure to be
running
here.
and doing stuff down in Texas. Tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, again, as you introduced me, I'm Shehla Faizi, and currently I'm running for Texas State Comptroller through the Green Party. Mom of two. I also host my own podcast. For now, I'm on hiatus because nobody really tells you how difficult it is to run as a candidate, you know? Lots of odds and ends. But here I am.
Yes.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm sure that's hard to balance with kids and work and all that. I mean, I'm basically retired, and so is Scott, but I would say semi. What would you say, Scott?
Yeah, musician. It's like being retired, trust me.
And artist, but you know,
Artist.
I had to stop painting so I could do this. So
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to run?
That's I mean, I don't know if there's a straight answer to this, but I never saw myself in politics. Like when you're growing up, your parents always caution, you know, politics is a dirty game and you shouldn't get into it. It's this, that, or the other. It was never in my radar ever. Originally my degree is in graphic design, so that's what I do freelance, and you know, I do my podcast and everything. But you know, when you're especially in a state like Texas, and you're old enough and you're raising your kids here, you get a very acute sense of how things are gradually deteriorating. Especially, I remember 2016 when President Trump first got elected. I still remember all of his supporters out late at night, you know, out on bikes, hooting and hollering. And if you're not a minority, you don't realize the kind of fear that inspires, especially the kind of hateful rhetoric he was spewing against Muslims. And from that point on, I think it was sort of a start of my journey of being more socially and politically aware. And come 2020, I felt like the way to change is to start from the ground up, which is why I started my podcast, to sort of educate people on what Muslims are like. We're everyday people. It sort of started out like that, you know, just that we are everyday regular people doing our everyday regular things, sort of gave an account of my backstory, introducing other Muslims on my podcast, that, you know, people who are artists, who are illustrators, who are social workers, social activists, who are in every sphere that you could possibly imagine. And then it slowly, gradually moved on to dealing with topics, things like domestic abuse, which are universal. It's not restricted to one segment of society, one race or one gender. I dealt with a lot of these socio-political topics all the way up until 2025, and before that, with the genocide that started in Gaza in 2023, that was a huge turning point for me and for a lot of Muslims. We were sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place. I had only voted Democrat up until then, but it seemed like that we had been let down in the worst possible way.
Yes.
So that is when my teacher, my mentor, I'm sure you all are aware of him, Dr. Butch Ware, he's running in the California gubernatorial as a Green Party candidate as well. He was my teacher for a couple of years. I used to take a lot of his spiritual intensives, and I sort of followed him to the Jill Stein campaign as well, because I have immense respect for him. And I started out as a Green Party volunteer. And when I started going into what the Green Party stood for, I was like, this is for me, like whole planet peace. These are the three most essential things to me. It's not about the money. It's not about any flashy materialistic things at the end of the day. I'm here to create better futures, not just for my kids, for everybody. And that's what sort of inspired me to keep volunteering for the Green Party. And I did it for a year, and I always kept getting that whisper from somewhere, you should run for something. I was like, I have no interest, and I have no experience. But 2025, things keep getting from bad to worse. And I'm like, I don't think I have the choice anymore to sit on the sidelines. Sure, I don't have any experience, but I'm going to be making it very uncomfortable for people who don't want to see me on the ballot. So that's why I'm here. I am running as Texas State Comptroller.
Excellent. I've said this quite often that, people talk about, oh, but you had no experience. If you've had any experience in the Democratic and Republican parties as a politician, you've learned how to be corrupt. I mean, you've learned the process, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reality. Even good people, they get into those systems and they have to be dealing with what's going on, and either they accept it or, they leave. A few have left, very few. But absolutely, we don't want experience. No, the last thing we want is political experience.
Yeah, I would say the same. I mean, I think not being part of the system is all the experience we need. We're going to bring our life experience and seeing it from the outside. So when they try to run that game on us, like, well, if you just wait, or if you just do it this way for a little bit, we'd be like, no, I want this. And this is what we're going for,
Here's the thing. I was just having this discussion with somebody else. A lot of people aren't aware what a comptroller does. If I had to clarify it for everybody out there who's listening, who may not be aware of what a comptroller does, they are basically the treasurer of the state. And there is so much power in that position, because ultimately it's all about how the taxpayer dollars are being used. I'm not saying that legislation isn't important. For sure, it is important. But most people don't even know that the Texas State Comptroller is also funding police to help ICE. And this is very problematic for somebody who's a minority like myself and my kids and millions of other families in Texas. I have skin in the game. The other two candidates don't have that kind of skin in the game. I'm here to protect all those who need protecting from unfair fiscal policies that are implemented through the comptroller system.
Wonderful. How does that differ from treasurer?
Well, we don't have a treasurer anymore. So we just have the comptroller.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a combo of treasurer and CFO.
Okay. Oh,
I got you. In Illinois, we have both.
I see.
And we have 6 people running as well. So, I mean, Green Party, we're running statewide. Griselda Romero is our governor candidate, and I'm running with her. And we have state treasurer, state comptroller, secretary of state, and U.S. Senate. Yeah.
Yes.
That's fantastic. That's a great lineup.
I mean, we're trying to get to the ballot. We're going through the ballot access process. And for those who don't know, it's brutal in Illinois. But
it's brutal.
So we're doing a massive campaign right now. So hopefully all of our candidates will be on the ballot for the November election. So
yes.
Yeah. And I hear, thanks to Eddie Espinoza, you don't have to go through that.
Yes.
Oh, thank you, Eddie.
Thank you, Eddie. Well, I was there for I was volunteering at that time, and he really everywhere. He was everywhere, showing up in all places and doing all the hard work. And bless him, he got us that 2.5% to keep us on the ballot. So, I mean, mad thank you to Eddie Espinosa. Okay. None of this could have been possible because if it weren't for him.
Wow.
Yeah.
He is the best. He is absolutely the best. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And in North Carolina, they had to sue to the Democratic Party to get ballot access because of how they cheated Matt Ho.
Right. And even the 2024 elections, I remember there was so many ways that they were trying to keep us off the ballot. It was ridiculous.
Right. The Arizona trick where the Secretary of State gave them the wrong ballot and I mean, gave them wrong the petition and then and said, oh, you don't have the right one. Here's the right one. And then, Democrats took it to court and Arizona said, no, your petitions are not proper. So, I mean, just the worst.
May have been Nevada.
Oh, I think you're right. You're right. It was Nevada. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know much about what's going on in Arizona. I guess I should find out.
Yeah.
It's a big country. Yeah.
Lots of things on the line. And that's why I tell everybody, I mean, I can't really say that I've always been into politics, but right now it's such a critical point in our country's history. You have to be aware of what's going on.
Right.
I have noticed people are way more engaged. And, petitioning kind of gives you kind of a barometer on where people are.
Right.
70% signed my petition and very few people will tell me no. And a lot of times they will just come up and say, well, can I have a card and just let me think on it. I just have little postcards. I'm like, sure. I said, I'll be back. I said, but we only have till May. So
right.
Top. No,
just a little bit of a hurry.
Yeah. But I've never seen the reaction that I've been getting. A lot of times when people say, oh, are you a Democrat? I'm like, no, I'm green. And I have it on the back of my card. So I just show them and they smile and they grab it and they sign it. That's
so great. There's definitely a shift happening. It's just that we have to keep pushing forward to be able to, if nothing else, make people aware that there is a Green Party and we are working towards the best interests of the people. And I keep telling everybody, I don't have any billionaire money backing me. Okay. I rely on whatever donations I get. Seriously. So, I mean, whoever is listening and watching, please, if you can donate to the campaign, that'd be absolutely amazing. Because I don't have billionaire PAC money. I don't have APAC money. And you're sitting there and you're basically budgeting. Okay, what is the most essential thing that we can get done right now with what we have? That's literally how it is.
Yes, absolutely. I was going to add this. So happy you found the Green Party.
It was an interesting twist of fate. I mean, I would never have seen myself. Like if you told me 3 years ago I'm running for office, I'd be like, you're out of your mind.
Right. I know it was a step for Edie to take. I was kind of pushing her, and it's because it's right. I mean, we don't think about, politics in terms of candidates and because that's not our interest at all. And I think that's the best thing. I mean, there was a town hall on Medicare for All in Illinois that Edie was a part of, and there were 3 Democrats and 3 Green Party folks there. And you would listen to all of the candidates talking, and it became so obvious that, wow, the Green Party, it's just some folks, Whereas these other people had all these planned things to say, and it was all very strategically sounding, and and I was in the audience, and I could tell the audience loved what the Green Party was saying.
Right. We don't have any fancy schmancy budget. I don't have a secretary. I don't have somebody, and I'll be honest, okay. I'm designing my own website. I'm updating it. I'm doing all the graphic design. This is just one person. Yeah. And I don't see that as anything shameful. Okay. This is just us in the Green Party, every member of the Green Party. I know this for a fact that we are just doing it on whatever we have, whatever skill, whatever knowledge, whatever resources we have. We do it through that.
Right.
We don't have any fancy systems or, I don't know, ulterior things. This is just it. This is it. This is what we are and what we got.
We don't do internal polling, okay?
Grassroots, baby. I love
Yes.
we are the real grassroots. And yeah, it seems like everybody that's really given their heart to the Green Party we do as many things as we can to make it succeed. Like anything that's asked of us, if it's at all in our capability, we just do it.
For sure.
And it comes from a place of love. And, you know, I sign all my emails with love for justice, because that's
that's nice.
You know, I think that, I mean, that's just where we are. That's what we need.
I get accused of being, oh, you're a radical. It's like, no, I'm a humanist. I just care about people, planet, right? I mean, that's the thing. It's, you know, again, all of the propaganda, right? The term radical is used to get people to stay away from you, right? Yep.
I like to say, and your point is what?
Yep.
And that's the thing. This is a very, very intentional. I hate to use the word propaganda, but that's basically what it is. But if you use the term radical, it has a certain negative connotation to it. But if not wanting unnecessary war or unnecessary killing or opposing a genocide is radical, sure, sign me up. I am here. Because these things, and I'm Muslim, okay? The point of that is that this is a very basic part of our faith. And any faith, not just Muslims, any faith, you can like spin a bottle, whatever faith it lands on. Decency, justice, protection, empathy are baselines.
Yes.
For all faiths. So and this goes for everybody, not just people who follow faith, but if you find these things radical, then you're not really following baselines of human decency.
Well said.
You know, I saw an article on, and I'm gonna, you know, butcher his name, Khomeini, who was assassinated, and he supposedly he was against the country having nuclear bombs for moral reasons. That was the reason, you know. I mean,
here's the thing. At the end of the day, when you look at the political sphere, okay, the U.S. has had a handful of enemies, which is always propagandized as enemies. I'm not saying these places are great, okay? They have their own problem. China has always been one of them. Russia has always been one of them. Iran has always been one of them. Iraq used to be there, but then, you know, after 9/11, it just became a place that, unfortunately, the thing is, we love having an enemy to create propaganda about, so it makes us look good. But if you see how our government is existing right now, with how few rights our people have, including having universal health care, a cost of living crisis, all of these things, any one of us is just one disaster away from being unhoused. Right. This is a reality that so many Americans live with. So I don't, and plus, if y'all will permit, when we have presidents that are in, and presidents and politicians and people in power that are in certain files, we are in no position to be pointing fingers at anybody 100. And being like, y'all are bad.
Yeah. Oh, and you don't have to like censor anything here. So I talk about Trump raping children all the time.
Like, not my podcast. So I was like, I have to be cautious. Oh man. But that's the reality of it. Not every place that you look at in the world is not working on a perfect system.
Right.
But we are the only ones causing unnecessary suffering to our own people for the sake of a quick buck, and starting relentless fighting elsewhere in the world, capturing leaders of other sovereign countries and starving Cuba. It like these are the things that's the problem with all of this, that we are not taking care of our own, and we are also causing devastation everywhere.
Yes,
it is.
Yes, what's happening in Cuba is horrific. I mean, we've been after them for 30 plus years. You know,
again, that's one of our famous enemies. Cuba has always been one of our famous enemies. North Korea. These are all the places that we're like, we are better than them, and they are bad because of XYZ, and we're always trying to figure out a way to do what we do majority of the time, which is try to invade, destabilize, all the things.
Right. Alish says, hello, I am loving this podcast. Shehla is a great speaker.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, you are.
No, I know in the, the blue MAGA world and the MSNBC and CNN and all that crap. I mean, my Democratic Party friends, I still have a few of them. They cannot say, all that comes out of their mouths is how evil Putin is. And even they're doing Epstein Putin. It's like, no, folks, that's not how it works.
He's not in there. As far as we know.
They have to. And the sad thing is how much they believe. Like my friend, I said, who's the most evil country in the world? And he's, and I said, it's the USA. And he just couldn't take that in. He thinks that, right, like you said, they believe that there are these evil countries out there to make us be the good guys. And I try to explain to him, we are the bad guys.
This is very common nationalistic propaganda. Yeah. A lot of countries partake in this, but a lot of those countries don't have this kind of power to influence foreign affairs and create the kind of chaos that we do. So therein lies the problem. And the only way that, the purpose of the propaganda is that you keep people internally resisting what we're doing abroad by saying we're the greatest country on earth sort of situation.
Yeah. I mean, one thing Trump did say in 2016 that's true, the American dream is dead.
Yeah.
It kind of is. We have to wake up.
Well,
I mean, he meant it in a different way.
I think he meant it in a different way. Yeah. The thing is, if I had to be frank about this, the American dream didn't die at that time.
No.
Or it didn't die at a particular point. I think for a really long time, it was slowly being suffocated.
Yes.
Because the U.S. exists upon a wildly capitalistic and racist ideology.
Yes.
And, I keep telling everybody that you think that racism is over, but Ruby Bridges is still alive. Ruby Bridges is the same age as my mom is.
Yeah. Yep.
And the people who harassed, mocked, taunted her probably are still alive as well. And they have had kids who probably also, and I don't want to generalize, but they're influenced or they operate under the same ideologies. So when you have racism and capitalism that is so deeply intertwined, and you have a burgeoning community of people of color, like when my parents came to the US, they were welcomed open arms. My dad is a physician. He was practicing physician at that time. And, when everybody thinks of the immigration process, they're like thousands of paperwork and many, 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 many years. But that was not how the case was when my dad came here. He was a psychiatrist. He applied for a job, got the job, and was a citizen within 6 months.
Yep.
3 years later, he got married to my mom, and she got her citizenship instantaneously.
Wow.
Moved back to the U.S. with him.
That's
It
where
wa-
the money belongs, in the system to process people and make it faster and easier.
Yeah, but the thing is, but that's because there was a need for people like my dad
Mhm.
that were educated, good doctors, great doctors,
Yeah.
who could help in the healthcare force when there was not enough people in healthcare. Same thing with other immigrants that came at that time. That we needed the people. The U.S. needed people
Mhm.
to work all the jobs, and there's no lesser than job. Okay,
Yeah.
if you are working as a doctor, you're working at a restaurant, you're working at a business, you're working on the fields, they are all important jobs, and we needed them, but we were not prepared for to give people who are not white, and you'll have to excuse me, I am frank about these things, but
Oh, of course.
we were not willing to give people who were not white the same kind of freedom, privileges, all the things.
Mhm.
And when our numbers grew, it sort of caused a whole lot of uneasiness within the greater system that was controlling everything. And that's when everybody was like, we like the American dream for ourselves, but we don't like the American dream for other people.
Exactly. Yep.
I agreed with everything you said. And
Yeah.
and being a white person, I know that I have like a smidgen of privilege, but it's rapidly disappearing because now they don't like me for my politics.
No.
Yep.
And being a woman.
And you're a woman. Okay.
And I'm a woman.
You're a woman.
And I'm gay, so I don't fit the whole right. I mean, American dream is basically a straight white male concept. It's a racist, it's
Basically.
anti-gay, it's yep, absolutely.
And I think it's really never existed because of what we did to Native Americans.
Right.
Absolutely.
So there's that part. But I wanted to mention some comments. Our guy that's always here, Mr. Brian Grigsby, thank you for coming.
Yep.
American Dream was always a fiction.
Absolutely.
Yes. And then I don't know if you know who these folks are.
Oh, I have
Divine
no
Foods
idea.
USA. Keep up the good work. We will support you all 100%.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Nice. Thank you, Divine Foods.
And Sip Sauce says, yes, I can relate. That's how it was when my parents came.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, I think I never had the full impact of how true it was, because when after you have kids, you're married, you're sort of busy with all the chaos that sort of ensues. But I had also pursued my master's in strategic communications, and one of the classes they made us read Ta-Nehisi Coates's A Case for Reparations.
Okay.
And that's an excellent piece of work that I highly recommend everybody to read, only because it shows how deeply ingrained our prejudices, especially against minorities, are. And by minorities specifically, against the Black community, that how insidious it is. I mean, particularly, they're the ones, especially with the indigenous population, the Black community has suffered the most at the hands of this system. And they are the ones, like, if I had to say it in any other way, that's why I'm a student of Professor Ware, because he's the one who taught me how deeply ingrained this is, because that is the experience of Black Americans, that you could be born here, like here several generations, literally for 400 or 500 years. They've been here several generations.
Yeah.
But they will always other you and dehumanize you in so many ways.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I heard a story a guy posted on TikTok of his experience. African-American man. He was, I don't know what his job was, food service, something. But he and another Black guy were signing up to go do a Trump rally, because that was through the job. And they said, "Are you sure that you're going to?" And I think it was the 2016. And he said, "Are you the guy who was signing them up, they was like, "Are you sure you're okay with this?" And they're like, "Well, yeah. I mean, it's work." And so he says, I mean, it's shocking to hear this. He said that the rally had just finished. They were coming in to do some kind of work, and they got off the bus. The two black guys got off the bus, and then the crowd turns around and sees them there at a completely all white area and starts chanting the N-word, chanting the N-word, chanting the N-word. And he goes, I'll never be the same. I mean, some person can call you that, and okay, the person's a jerk, right?
No,
the entire group of people, the entire group was doing this.
But that's the thing. It's not that's the aggression that they have to face on the daily, especially with the kind of rhetoric they hear from the president himself. They'll be like, I can call you that and get away with it. A lot of them do. It's a hate crime. But ain't nobody gonna believe it's like, their word against mine sort of situation. And if you're law enforcement, you are more likely to side with somebody who's white as opposed to someone who's a person of color.
Absolutely. That's our court system. Absolutely.
We've seen that proven a million times, right?
Oh yeah.
I have friends.
I was just gonna say, I just remember, it's like after you get out of school, you begin your real education and learning all these things that happen in your country that you had no idea. Right. I didn't know about Black Wall Street in Tulsa. I didn't know about it. And then when I learned,
because they don't teach you.
What?
No,
I couldn't believe it.
The most horrifying thing is I did my schooling in Pakistan. I was raised there, did all my schooling over there. So I was not familiar with the education system over here. But my kids started going to school in Texas. And if you ever look at the social studies books that they have such demonized depictions of indigenous people, and even of like it's such a terribly sanitized version of history. I don't know a whole lot about American history, but I knew enough to know that all of this was a whole bunch of BS being pushed to kids to justify how American history is. And they're making it worse with updating curriculum. I've heard they're including Christianity now. I don't know how far that has gone, but it's Texas.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
I wanted to say, welcome, Cassidy. Just
Hey,
donate $5
thank
to
you
your
so
campaign.
much.
And Brian says she is a near perfect.
Oh, you're too sweet.
No, I'd go with perfect. I'd go with perfect.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm still going up against some tough competitors. I don't know if y'all are aware or not. So we have Sarah Eckert, who's Democrat, long political history. She's very experienced. No harsh words for her at all. She comes from a political family. Her father was Bob Eckert, who's also a congressman. And the second one is the most interesting of the two. Don Huffins. Are you all aware of who Don Huffins is?
No.
Yeah.
He bought the Epstein Ranch in New Mexico.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And they allowed him to run. And technically that place should be under investigation. There's plenty of protesters there because they don't want the sale to go through. He wanted to convert into some sort of Christian camp. So I was like, this is interesting. But it is Texas, y'all. It's Texas.
I can't even. I mean, that's, that one has gotten the most publicity, at least for the possibility of getting an investigation, because it's in the U.S., right? So they're really focused on it. And they talk about the dead bodies there. So, wow. Unreal.
He hid that sale because he didn't buy it publicly. This man knows the history of this place. He tried to change the address of it to sort of detract attention from it. He did everything in the book.
Oh my Lord.
I'm glad that it's out in the public, but again, it is very, very disturbing to say the least.
We need to cover that on Sunday night.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna do that. Okay.
We used to do Saturday at noon, and then petitioning started, and Scott and I agreed, like, there's no way we can't petition and be here in like prime time signature gathering time. So we moved to Sunday night, and our audience has grown because I think everybody's they're kind of done with the week. They're done with their weekend. They're just like sitting down, like, just check out the Green Party.
Right.
So we go Sunday night 6 at Central Time. 6 Central.
Right.
And I also want to cover, and it is Texas, the conviction for domestic terrorism that was from the Antifa, which isn't even an actual group; it's a philosophy. And so they were convicted on domestic terrorism charges this week. And part of what they got convicted for in terms of identifying them to this Antifa group was wearing all black. So I'm wearing all black. In honor of Antifa.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
I mean,
can you imagine them going around like picking up emo people? They're wearing all black, man.
I mean, I'm in New York in the 80s in the East Village. I mean, everyone wore black. That was the punk
everyone.
That was the thing. Black goes with everything, okay? Yeah. Black goes with everything.
Exactly. And it's supposed to make you look skinnier. So like, always wearing black.
I did not know that. That's interesting.
That's a girl thing.
Okay.
Like we look for all those tricks, right?
Oh.
I always wear black pants. Always.
Well, you're a domestic terrorist.
Oh, well, only half. I'm green on the top.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Remember when we were talking about people calling you radical? It was really funny. I went to one of those sanitized protests, and the people there, good hearts, they were protesting against Trump, but that's fine.
Yeah.
But the guy's on the megaphone, and he's like, "We're not radical." And I look at my friend, I'm like, "We're not?" I guess I'm in the wrong place.
Yeah. Oh God.
But
I said I'd like to radically change the system.
Exactly. But the problem with that is, again, we discussed it, how the term radical is so propagandized, that people are afraid of it. Just like the term feminism. When I was growing up, feminism was the original F word. Okay. You could say the F word and be less offensive to people as opposed to calling yourself a feminist.
Yeah.
And they still try to do that with all of these, I don't know, podcast bros and red pill, so on and so forth. And trad wives. Gosh, it's just the whole thing. But in its essence, and no ideology is perfect. You have problems in all ideologies, but at its core, it is about liberation of all those who are oppressed. Women are top of that, but we will fight for everybody.
Exactly.
Yep. Absolutely.
Sabby Sabs taught me about Gloria Steinem being a plant.
Yeah.
That it divided the feminist movement. And because a Black woman had to choose between civil rights and women's rights, well, they went with their family, of course. Right. So it kind of broke it apart. And I remember whenever that started being really demonized was whenever, was that 96 when Rush Limbaugh came on the radio? And that was because of Bill Clinton, destroying like the equal time and all that happened, the telecommunications bill of 1996, I believe.
Right.
He destroyed it. So right-wing radio just took off, and Rush Limbaugh was always on about that. He called them feminazis.
Oh, feminazi. I forgot about that.
And I got a long memory for those.
Because those things hurt us. Even now, they're trying to pass the SAVE Act, which distinctly affects women and their right to vote. And plus all the members of the queer community, those that are transgender or for any reason have had their names changed. It's different from their birth certificate, or it's different from what's on their passport. These are unfair legislation. Yeah. Because if you're married and you don't have a valid passport, like you haven't traveled anywhere in forever, it's not matching your birth certificate,
No.
you can't register to vote.
Right.
And that is not okay.
Do you know where that stands in terms of do they think it's going to pass? I mean, that would be unbelievably to do this to people.
The problem is it's still going further than it should be.
Yeah.
It should not have gone as far as it did. So if there's any message from me to everybody who's listening, please call your representative. This can't fly.
Right.
If you're a woman, even if you're not a woman, okay, this goes against basic civil rights. Yeah. I'm a person here. I was born here just because I have a different last name. And they put it under the, it's to avoid voter fraud. And this is not a thing.
Right.
No.
Never has been, never will be.
Nope. I can't remember that guy that used to investigate that. He wore like the gumshoe hat and he was out, he's like, what they're actually doing is removing people from the voter rolls.
Right.
That's huge.
Right.
People mistakenly voting incorrectly is such a small percentage that it's practically
it doesn't work out that way.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a real story from my convention that just happened last week. We had a person come in and he said that he had received his voter ID card. He just forgot to bring it with him. And that not everybody's carrying it around like I am. Like I'm a little paranoid. But he didn't have it, but you can look it up through your ID. Mm-hmm. He was not in the system. So he could not vote at the convention, even though he wanted to, and he had not voted in the primaries. Mm. So these are the things that they are doing to sort of make it more and more difficult for people to vote. Even when they are defunding USPS, they're removing money from them. What it does is that postal workers are now not allowed to work overtime to process ballots or process the mail, or process registrations. The other thing that is happening is that your the ballot is not counted now the second it goes into the mailbox. Your ballot is only counted once it goes through the scanning machine. That could be 3 days from now.
Wow.
And you could have missed the election.
Right. Yep. Oh, wow. Good point. Yeah, I'm an election judge, or at least I've been doing that in Illinois. And we have 2 judges who will check the signature, and it really works as a security measure. I mean, It was amazing. You see them fill out the form, and you match it to what's in the system with the driver's license, whatever ID that they had, and it's like, yep, match, yep. Yeah. I mean, it's a perfectly fine system. It works.
Yeah. But they are deliberately breaking the system down, because it tilts it in their favor.
Right.
Yep.
So if they had their way, it would only be white men voting again.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
right. You don't get to vote. And the other thing is, I just read this yesterday, is that they are attributing declining birth rates to women being more independent. That is a very problematic statement in itself, because it opens a lot of can of worms, and essentially for them to be like, oh, you can only now work this number of hours. And I don't know if y'all heard about this a couple of months ago, that they were trying to offer women certain amount of money to stay home and have kids. And I was like,
oh
dear God.
Oh my God.
Well, okay. How about just paying everybody a fair wage and giving us health care and secure housing? And then I think the birth rate would go up.
It would go up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. People don't have kids because they don't know how they're going to raise them. They can't afford to live themselves. Why would they get into this?
I mean, especially in Texas, our federal minimum wage is $7.25
an hour.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do jack with $7.25 an hour.
No.
Even if you worked double shifts, if you did 80 hours a week, you're only about making, and this is before taxes, maybe $28,000 a year.
Yeah.
And after taxes, it's far less than that. you can't do jack in this economy
Yep.
with that. Can't afford a place to live, can't afford to rent anywhere. Because you have to be making 3 times the rent, and the minimum rent for, and I'm just spouting out these statistics because I was just going through the cost of living, and it alarms me. Like for a 1-bedroom apartment is about $1,500. This is like the average.
Right.
To make 3 times the rent of that, you have to be making more than $28,000 a year.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, I was sent an article, I think it was from Fortune magazine, from our new our candidate for state treasurer. I said our new state treasurer. I'm just gonna go ahead and
Yay, we're gonna go with that. We are optimistic.
Yeah.
Timmy Pappas, yes.
Talking about, that the poverty line was established so nobody would be below it.
Right.
And it was based, and it was written in the 60s, I believe. And it was based on 1/3 of your income being spent on food. So they're basing it on food. So it's not even accurate.
Right.
So at this point, it should be, people shouldn't make no less than 100,000 a year just to be able to survive.
Because you can't.
You can't.
Honestly, we there is a national statistic that the poverty line nationally is at $100,000. Anybody living below that is not really living comfortably at all, especially if you have kids.
Oh God!
If you're factoring in everything that you require for kids, education, even just the basics, childcare, all the things. You can't afford to live at anything below that.
Right.
We have a question.
Yes.
They want to know where to find your podcast.
Oh, y'all are so sweet. So I'm on hiatus. I'm going to be honest with y'all because I can't juggle both things, but the name of my podcast is I'm a Muslim and That's Okay. You can find it on all major platforms. Just search up the name I'm a Muslim and That's Okay. And I'll be the only one popping up. Trust me.
I love it.
If you want to see, I'll just scroll the camera for just a tiny bit, but you can see the
logo right there. There we go. All right.
Oh.
That's a great name. Oh, that's a great name.
So, that is great.
Yep.
I clicked on something and things came up and I'm like, what did I just do? I was going to type it in there.
No, it's a great title. It reminds me of the Monty Python song. I'm a Muslim and That's Okay.
And this is where a very tongue-in-cheek to everything, because I had never, again, that was one of the other things. I didn't think that I would be ever hosting a podcast either. This was done on a whim because I had a friend who, during the pandemic, we were not doing anything during the pandemic but baking bread and starting podcasts. That's literally what we were doing. And she was like, I want to start a podcast, but I don't like the way I sound. But she used to be a physiotherapist for people with disabilities. And she wanted to start a podcast about that. And I was like, listen, what you do is important. I think your voice should be out there. You know what? I'll start one with you. We'll be like accountability partners, podcast buddies in a sense.
Yeah.
And I started it, and I ran with it, and I enjoyed doing it a lot. So for now it's on hold, but I'm hoping I can start it up later on.
Yeah. No, we love what we do here at Green Live Stream, and it's been the coolest thing ever to meet so many different people from the Green Party around the country. Right. And we're just blown away. I mean, it's a really hopeful place, because all of the people that we met in the Green Party across the country, they're just phenomenal. So yeah, podcasting is super fun.
Right.
Really is.
And it's very educational as well, especially for us hosts. We learn so much from other people's experiences.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, that is 100% true. So what do you plan to do for Texas should you win?
We're hoping, we're staying positive. But if I had to put the basics up there, my slogan is that prosperity for Texans. And I mean that in a sense that we need to have accountability of where our tax dollars are going. We if you go to the Comptroller's office and all the things that they handle, supposedly, there's a lot of waste that's going in. First and foremost, like I'd mentioned before, we fund sheriff office to cooperate with ICE. And I don't think that is what our tax dollars should be doing.
No.
Okay. They capture and ask questions later. This is not, these are tax paying people. Okay. If you want to put it any other way, if you just wanted to look at it at a financial perspective, these are taxpayers that are being terrorized.
Yep.
And that's never okay. Specifically targeting minorities, not okay. Second of all, we have the greatest spending in Israel, in Texas.
Oh.
So $1.3 billion goes from Texas to Israel.
Wow.
That's not just in taxes, by the way, but the Comptroller's office does buy bonds, Israeli bonds, to keep their economy afloat. They get free healthcare, they get free education, they get all the good stuff. But at this point, why are we buying these bonds when our own people are struggling with the basics?
Right. Same in Illinois. Yep. Our treasurer is, and they just renewed it. And we've been protesting. We got a protest Friday out there. I'll be downtown Friday morning for it. But yeah, no, it's horrific. And that we do this.
The thing is, these are the things that are depriving our people of what is our right to our taxpayer dollars.
Yes.
And one of the things that is currently contentious within Texas itself is the voucher system, the private school voucher system, pushed heavily by Greg Abbott because he's being paid good moolah for having a voucher system to encourage private school tuitioning and so on and so forth. On paper, it seems like a great idea that people can afford to go to private schools. But what it essentially does is that it takes away taxpayer dollars from public schools.
Right.
Yeah.
There are public schools now that are still phenomenal, but are now struggling to keep up numbers because they're being defunded.
Yep.
By this system that only benefits about 95,000 students that are given this funding through a lottery system.
Oh, wow.
It's not even everyone that's applies. And because our current comptroller and Greg Abbott has huge anti-Muslim biases, a lot of the Islamic schools have been locked out of the system intentionally. Because it's the excuse that CARE, which is the Islamic organization that works, for social welfare of Muslims, that CARE is a terrorist organization, and supposedly all these schools are associated with CARE, and they cannot be part of the voucher system, so on and so forth.
Yep.
So not only is it a drain on our taxpayer dollars, it's also discriminatory at this point.
Wow. Well, anytime it's public-private partnership, look out for the public.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, my
Of
big deal
course.
has been raging against Medicare Advantage. I don't know why they get to use the name. All it does, it's private insurance.
Right.
And, it's notorious for denying care.
Yeah.
And it tricks seniors. They have no idea. They're like,
Right.
oh, I signed up for Medicare Part C. Okay, well, you just lost your Medicare.
But the thing is, how can you even blame anybody? Like, these are people who are not informed within the system.
Right.
Like, they don't know. It has the name Medicare on it. So it must be the same thing, I guess.
Right.
But they would not know.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'd like to know the person that okayed that.
Right.
Be able to use that name. It should have never happened.
It should have never happened, for sure.
Yeah.
And thirdly, and fourthly, I guess that would be the fourth point. If I had to do one thing, and this is like a huge thing with me, I'm heavily against the use of AI for many reasons. But foremost is that it is an environmental disaster. And with the amount of these data centers that are opening up in Texas, they are a clear detriment to the livelihood and lives of people. I just saw it in the Comptroller's website. They're the ones who grant these, what would you call them?
Permit something?
Permits grant these permits for these data centers.
Yeah.
And the stipulation is that if you like open a small data center, which is 100,000 square feet, you are only required to employ 20 people for it to be a valid permit.
Mm.
So it's not even bringing in employment, but it's causing a huge loss to fresh water, huge detriment to the environment. And this is not for the sake of creating money, because if you've read the statistics, AI is not generating profit currently. For every $3 it spends, you get back $1. It's not making money. All it is doing is using up resources and is being used as surveillance technology.
Thank you. That's where I was hoping you were going with that.
Yeah.
They're happening all over here too. There's a little town close to me that they're talking about refurbishing a building. The county's talking about it and like, oh yeah, people complain, but we shouldn't worry about them. That was in the paper.
Yeah.
Our local paper. I'm like, so our opinion doesn't mean anything to you because you just got paid. Is that why? And they're happening up in Grays Lake, right? Too.
Well, the thing is, the investment, like in Texas, the investment has to be for the small data center $200,000. No, not 200. Sorry, $200 million. Okay. So that's why they're letting it happen. Even for a small data center that only is supposed to is required to employ 20 people, you get $200 million each. But it isn't really not improving the lives or even the quality of life in terms of, is it generating jobs? Is it creating more opportunities, more income? Nothing.
And it's the negative. It's killing jobs. Killing jobs by the millions. Because now billionaires have workers who will work 24 hours a day. You don't have to feed them. You don't have to pay them. They don't need health care. That's what it's about. It's to get killed, having to pay out money for jobs. Billionaires
it's that and it's control, because they wouldn't be doing it everywhere if they weren't setting us up to watch. They already know almost everything we do anyway.
Everything.
Yeah.
So they want to know exactly what we do, when we do it, where we do it, all the time. That's what they're for.
Yeah. We are no longer people to big corporations.
We're data points.
We're a commodity.
Right.
Okay. How much can I extract out of you in terms of money? In terms of what's beneficial to me? And when you think about it in a commerce sort of situation, this whole business plan makes very little sense, because if you are replacing people with AI, they're losing jobs. They won't have money. How are they going to buy anything? How does this work?
Yep.
Unless then you wish to keep these people as your slaves. And then the discrimination finishes.
Right.
Okay. You're too poor to own anything. We own you now.
And that's what ICE is doing. They're, they're yes, they deport, but it sounds like they're mostly building concentration camps.
The deportation is not that much.
Right.
No,
it's concentration camps. It's workhouses. It's slavery. That's what it's about. Absolutely.
And you saw a report, but I don't know if it's been verified, that they were buying ovens.
Yeah, I know.
That's disturbing.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the news that underage girls who were pregnant are being shifted to a separate island?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And they weren't pregnant when they got there.
Yeah, right.
I'm very upset that they made the term island creepy.
It's
because island should be like make you think of palm trees and nice drinks, but now you think of creepers.
See, that's what we got to do. Okay, we got to take back what they've taken from us.
Yes.
But the only way to do that is to not be okay with being comfortable.
Right. Yep. My big push, I swear it's my life goal, is I scream it every day, is Edie knows. And that's the idea of normalizing genocide. People are all talking about, well, who's your favorite candidate in the Democratic Party? Well, I like this one, because we just had our election yesterday.
Right.
You guys are talking about a group that committed mass murder. How can you just like nicely talk about these folks. And it wasn't, I mean, all the senators in the Democratic senators in Congress voted to starve and bomb Palestinians in a single bill. And they did it for 15 months. They did it for 15 months straight. And I don't understand how people can't see. They signed the bill. They even signed some of the bombs. And they signed the bill. And within a week, the bombs they signed are dropping on Palestinians. And their denial, they're just complete denial of that. It's horrific.
What's even worse is during the year 2095, after the presidential elections, Trump came into power, and whenever you're online, you interact with different people, different influencers, in a sense. There are so many hardcore Democratic influencers. They were blaming us, the Green Party, for losing the election. I was like, y'all, the math ain't mathin'.
Right.
Okay. Kamala Harris lost by a huge margin, and you could have put together all the independent voters, not just Green Party, and it still would not have been enough.
And the thing is, they are the ones to blame.
Who does she sound like? Anyway.
No, I was going to say.
Go ahead, Scott. Sorry.
They are to blame because they didn't vote for Joe Stein. Don't tell me about how somebody spoils something. No, you are to blame. You did not. You had the opportunity. It was right there in front of your face, and you could have voted for Jill Stein, and she could have been our president. So stop this crap about how, but somebody's ahead in the polls and they don't have a chance. They got a chance. You just got to go in there and vote.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that Trump didn't do horrific things. Yeah, he's pushing us back, no doubt about it. But like even before the election, they could have put immense pressure on both Biden and Kamala Harris that this is not okay. But they didn't, because again, people of color's lives don't matter as much.
Yeah, Kamala Harris did do worse than Hillary Clinton because the cracks were showing. I mean, she was selected.
And I honestly, I think she was thrown under the bus at some point. I don't entirely blame her. Biden should never have bid for re-election.
Yeah, well,
he should have let it go.
But
he didn't give her enough time.
But the thing is, again, it's a party that has been mass murdering people for decades. So, I mean, we could talk about the modern thing and the situations. The reality is the Democratic and Republican Party have been murdering people for decades, folks. Decades and decades and decades. That's why that's why it drives me nuts that they act like these folks are okay. No.
Well, the thing that you said that is my favorite is that like which one?
Yeah.
The Democratic Party chose genocide in Trump over no genocide and no Trump.
Right. Yep. Did I say that? Yes, I got it.
Yes, you did.
I think I stole that from something on Twitter. Somebody posted that.
I give it to you. So then you can pass on the props.
Yeah. Well, it's like how Max Blumenthal says he wants credit for calling it Operation Epstein Fury. He goes, I want credit for that.
Okay, Max, you got it, mister.
It's the worst kind of credit ever.
Yeah.
Because we're living in a really bad timeline. I mean, I'm a sci-fi buff. Okay, so quantum physics and all these things. I love. I'm into it. But it's a very popular saying for us. Is like, this is a bad. Why am I in this timeline? How did I get here?
Hang on.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here. It's been lovely. Oh my gosh. If you'd like to hang on a little after, that's cool. If you can't, I understand. It's super busy. But I want to thank our audience and tune in at 6:00 on Sunday night Central Time. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, I want to say, please comment and share. Well, comments are you only have 5 seconds to comment. But please like and share and also subscribe. Please support us. And please go to Shehla's website and thank you for the donation. You had a donation.
Yes,
tonight,
thank
so
you so much.
yes.
It's just the amount doesn't matter. We
Yeah.
just need consistent support. If you can do monthly donations, it's like $5, $2. I don't care.
Right.
We just need the support to push forward the third party, something that has been blocked, censored for way too long. People should know that they have a choice other than Democrats and Republicans.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. See y'all Sunday.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Good night.
An uprising, we're rising up. It's an uprising, we're rising up. It's an uprising. Fight the power. It's an uprising. Fight the power.
There we go.